Whose church is it? Christ's church. Then it is most critical that I understand the mind of Christ. People say to me, they've said this through the years, what periodicals do you read to help you understand the culture? None. I think I get it. It's sort of out there, isn't it? I'm not really confused about the culture. Pretty apparent what it is. I'm not really concerned about the culture in leading the church. I remember being in Washington, D.C. as a large church, a well-known pastor, and he said, my life is completely different. I have now read a book that will give me direction the rest of my life as to how to lead a church. And he named a secular book on leadership. I didn't know what to say. We're sitting in rocking chairs on his porch. And I don't know, I mumbled something because he was my host. But I think what leaked out was, have you tried Ephesians? Maybe there might be a few suggestions there. What are you talking about? Stephen Covey has nothing to offer the church. Tom Peters has nothing to offer the church. No secular book has anything to offer the church. Look, I have to be the representative of Christ in my church, right? I'm an under shepherd of Christ. True? So all I want to know, one thing I want to know, what is the mind of Christ concerning his work, his church? What does he want for his church? What does he want his church to be? You know, this was a frustration for me when I was in, and I'll stop and we'll take a break. I was frustrated in seminary because my dad was a pastor, but the way the churches that he was in, when he was in Baptist churches, I knew that the way they were organized was fraught with problems. I didn't always know why as a kid. Then I saw him start a church, and he organized that church in a way that had nothing to do with the Scripture. He was a wonderful, faithful, precious father to me, and a faithful preacher of the Word, and a consistent man of integrity. But it just seemed like it was kind of willy-nilly when you sort of put a church together. And then I went away to seminary, and I went to Talbot Seminary, and I heard various approaches. We had professors who were from the Grace Brethren Association, and we had professors who had a sort of a kind of a Baptistic background, and there was some Presbyterian influence, and sort of all canceled out in my mind. I couldn't figure out how to do church. So I began when I was in seminary to study, and I just chased around everywhere to try to find a book that I could kind of lean on and give me some guidance. And I found a funny little self-published book called The Order for Church and Missionary by Alex Rattray Hay. You won't find it. It was some self-published thing, and it was so badly done that the sections of the book were in the wrong place. So it went from page 34 to 180, and you had to, and some of it was upside down. So I went, that is a very familiar book to me. So I started to read this thing by this Plymouth Brethren guy named Alex Hay on the New Testament Order for Church and Missionary. And I began to discover, first of all, in his book, that there was a New Testament order. That Christ had given order for his church and established it in the New Testament. And then it became my goal and my purpose to discern that down to the finest point that I could find.